Hi! Let's talk about nouns. Nouns are, as you know, persons, places, things, ideas, animals that we might be talking about. And if they're singular, it's talking about one person, one place, one thing, etc. And if it's plural, it's talking about more than one. Okay? You know those things. That's basic stuff. And it's the same in English as it is in Spanish. Normally, we add s or es to a word to make it plural. That's a regular plural. Irregular plurals are formed in another way, like woman becomes women, child becomes children, fish stays fish for some reason, etc. And then, proper and common nouns. Proper nouns name something or someone in particular, like Tegucigalpa or Monday. Okay? Common noun is the kind of thing in general. So Tegucigalpa is a kind of city in general. Or you could even be more general and just say place. Those are all nouns. Monday is a proper noun for a particular day of the week. Okay? So that's the difference between common and proper. And then you also, I didn't put up here common and abstract, concrete rather, and abstract. You should know the difference between that already. A concrete noun is something that you can experience in some way with your five senses, seeing or touch or hearing or something like that. And abstract nouns are the ones that you can't experience directly with your five senses, like philosophy or idea or mathematics or something like that. Love, a feeling, maybe. Those are abstract. Anyway, compound nouns are nouns that are made up of more than one word, and they can be done in three different forms. Pineapple is done by just putting the two words together to make one longer word. And when you take them apart, they don't really actually mean the same thing. Pineapple, right? And then dining room is when you have a compound noun that's made of two words that you don't put together. Dining room is an example. Light bulb would be another example. Things like that. You put the words together and it has a meaning together. Dining is basically a verb that means the same thing as eating. And room is una aula, ¿verdad? And so if you put the two together, then you're talking about a room where you eat. Mother-in-law is a compound noun that's made by putting words together with hyphens. And a mother-in-law, if you don't know, is a suegra. You should know that. This is easy stuff. Collective nouns are used to talk about groups of other nouns. So, for example, a litter of kittens. When a cat has kittens, we talk about that group of kittens as a litter. The same thing for a dog having puppies. It's a litter of puppies. A band, like a band that you might listen to. A set, okay? So a set of pencils or something like that. Homework is actually a collective noun. All of these litter, band, set, homework, those are singular nouns. You can make some of them plural. Homework is never plural, by the way. I've said this over and over again, and I will continue to say it until hopefully people learn it. My cat had one litter of kittens. Sometimes cats have several litters of kittens. It means several groups of kittens, so you can make some of these plural. Non-count nouns are used to talk about stuff that you can't count, like milk, rice, gasoline, air. These things you can't really count. How many airs do you need? No, you can't really say that, right? You can talk about a quantity of rice, like a sacco of rice, a gallon of gasoline, a liter of milk, things like that. But you can't really talk about them like in individual pieces. Like we can with books, for example. Books is a count noun. You can count right here in front of me. I have 3 books, okay? That's the difference between count noun and non-count noun. And these become more important later on as we're learning about pronouns and how they go with the nouns, etc. But we're not there yet. So that's the nouns that I want to talk to you about. Next, apostrophes, the floating commas. The word is apostrophe. This is how you spell it. A-P-O-S-T-R-O-P-H-E-S. It's a Greek word. Anyway, I know it's a Greek word because it has PH in it. Possession. Apostrophes can be used to form possessive nouns. Possessive nouns are nouns, but they act like adjectives in a sentence. For example, Jose's dog got in my yard. So Jose's is a possessive noun, but it's being used as an adjective to tell me which dog I'm talking about. Many times in students' writing, I see stuff like the dog of Jose. In English, we don't normally use that kind of construction. Instead, we use possessive nouns that are before the main noun, just like any other adjective would be. Jose's dog. Anyway, getting back to this. Singular nouns and irregular plurals are formed with apostrophe S, like this, dogs. D-O-G apostrophe S. I'm hoping you can see that. Children is an irregular plural, and it's formed with apostrophe S as well. Then there are regular plurals. Those are the ones that I was saying before, you add S or ES to the end to make the plural. Regular plurals form their possessive form by just adding an apostrophe. Like dogs. If something belongs to a group of dogs, then you can use the plural possessive form to talk about that. For example, my dog's dinner time is at 9:30. I'm talking about one dinner time that's shared by 3 dogs, and because they all eat at the same time. So I would use the word dogs, but with the apostrophe at the end after the S, because I'm talking about something that's shared by all 3 dogs. Also, nouns ending in an unaccented vowel plus S. So what I mean by that is like the word cactus. You have the unaccented vowel U, and then the S, because the word is not cactus, it's cactus. And since it's unaccented like that, you can just put an apostrophe on the end. Like the name Marcos. Something belongs to Marcos, you can just put M-A-R-C-O-S apostrophe. You don't have to add another S to the end of that because of this exception to the possessive formation rule. An interesting one to talk about is Jesus, because in English, we say Jesus when we're talking about like Jesus Christ. And so if something belonged to Jesus, then we could put J-E-S-U-S apostrophe. However, you guys have people who are named Jesus, and you also talk about in Spanish Jesus. So like our neighbor Jesus came to see if we wanted any beans. So Jesus would be like that. But the accent is on the last syllable, so I would have to say Jesus's beans were good instead of Jesus with an apostrophe. You understand? Jesus's would be J-E-S-U with an accent over it, S, and then apostrophe S. Okay, I hope I hadn't just really confused you. Please let me know if I have. Sometimes I do that. Anyway, where am I? Also, other singular nouns ending in S, you should still treat them like any singular noun and put apostrophe S at the end, like the word bus. If we're going to talk about the bus's windows were all down, for example, the bus's windows would be B-U-S apostrophe S. And, or like our class's lunchtime is 12 o'clock. So the lunchtime that belongs to our class So that would be CLASS apostrophe S, as you can see on my board, I hope. So apostrophes can help form possessives and show ownership. That's how we do it, rather than using a prepositional phrase like of somebody. Apostrophes also form contractions. The apostrophe replaces omitted letters, like in can't. Can't with apostrophe replaces the second N and an O in cannot. Normally we don't use the word cannot. It's kind of antiquated. Normally we always use the word can't. There are times and places to use the word cannot, especially when you want to really emphasize it. I cannot do that anymore, like that. So that's all those with "nt," like isn't, won't, don't, all of those with the, it has the apostrophe there. It takes the place of the O in the word not. Singing, I have as an example there, singing. And that's only if you are writing maybe dialogue, or you're trying to express something in a dialect. Because where I'm from, in the south part of the United States, many times we'll say, he was just singing, you know, like that. And if you want to express that's how somebody's talking, you can do that. There are other words that we might do that with. You also need to know when you I put another example here, your, because there are different yours. There's the your that's possessive that doesn't have an apostrophe, because the possessive pronouns don't have apostrophes, and that gets confusing, I suppose. But then the one with an apostrophe, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, is a contraction. It stands for you are, like you're the best. So just want you to remember that. There are some that people have a lot of trouble with. It's your, it's, because it's, again, the possessive doesn't have an apostrophe, but the contraction does. And their, again, the possessive is T-H-E-I-R. It does not have an apostrophe, but the contraction does. So in pronouns, that would be the rule. And then also an apostrophe might replace some numbers. So we might say, this year the seniors are the class of 21. Instead of saying 2021, and you could put the class of apostrophe 21, the class of 21, like that. And this apostrophe signifies that we are leaving out a number or two. And then finally, apostrophes can be used to form a few plurals. As a rule, most plurals are never formed with apostrophes. Only in these cases. If you're talking about letters, so I got all A's, Mom. So A's would be A apostrophe S. Or I got all 5s on my homework, Mom. And so 5 apostrophe S would be how you write the plural of the 5 there. Symbols, so pluses and minuses and things like that. You could put the symbol, like, don't use pluses in your writing. Like that. If I were to say that, if I were to write that, I would put the symbol plus, because the symbol is what I'm talking about, not the actual word. Plus apostrophe S. And words being discussed as words. So here's an example. Don't use too many ands in your writing. I'm talking about the word and. Since I'm talking about it as a word and not using it as a conjunction, then you can make the plural with apostrophe S. In fact, you should make the plural with apostrophe S. All of these things will be covered in your workbook pages, and you will find out more specifically how to make possessives with compound nouns and things like that in your workbook pages. There will be instructions in there. Tomorrow we'll have a mini meet, and hopefully, in which we will discuss how to do the pages, make sure everybody understands what we're doing, and we'll go from there. When I say mini meet, I mean we're not going to go through every page and do the first 3 or 4 with you on every page. I'm just going to make sure you know what you're doing and go from there. Anyway, so let's get busy.